We're rolling.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
What's
Episode
going
6. So, welcome back. We want to, as always, thank everybody for listening. We appreciate all your support online. Continue to find us on social media, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. You can find us at Jiu-Jitsu Dummies. We actually started a Facebook group as well, a little bit more like a forum than a Facebook page.
Go and ask your questions there.
Yeah, go ask some questions, pose questions, say something funny, throw a grenade in there, see what happens. But that's the you can find that at Jiu-Jitsu Dummies podcast is how you'll find the group if you search those words, where our fan page is just Jiu-Jitsu Dummies. Okay, so again, at Jiu-Jitsu Dummies everywhere. Watch us on YouTube. If you're looking at us on the on YouTube right now, we'll typically put hi everybody. We'll put descriptions and links to Facebook pages and sponsors and things like that on screen as well. So if you're just listening to us on the podcast, check us out on YouTube as well. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. We will get back to you. We will answer. If you give us a comment or review, we're gonna let you know that we got it. Okay. Once again, Milton Campus, Purple Belt, Fight Sports Coral Springs, and you can find me at Uncle Milty BJJ on Instagram. You can visit jujitsudummies.com to become a podcast patron or sponsor. We'd love to have a gi sponsor, another chi sponsor.
Yeah.
CBD, massage guns, all that stuff. Things that we actually use. We're all ears, guys. Tell us how we could work with you. If you want to send us a question for the show, if you want us to answer a question on the show, send it to info@jujitsudummies.com. If we use your question on the show, we're going to give you a $50 coupon code for a purchase, for a one-time purchase on chokeresponsibly.com. And they've been a huge supporter of the show. If you go to their website, there's a podcast menu option. Just click on podcast.
What type of stuff they got?
They got backpacks, stickers,
They got
hoodies.
t-shirts. They got t-shirts.
We're going to be launching a kids t-shirt. We got men's, women's, kids, mugs, t-shirts, stickers. Those mugs right there.
Perfect.
We got a big old sticker like this that you can put on your car. Actually smaller, but it's there. I love the new backpacks. It's black and white, so really cool stuff. If you just go to chokeresponsibly.com to make a purchase, you can use coupon code DummiesPod6 to get 10% off of your order.
That's perfect.
Right. So as always, they ship free in the United States.
We're still talking to that guy about the 15%, right?
No, that guy's an asshole.
All right. Just trying to see if we can get these folks.
We're still doing 10% off.
All right,
Get
cool.
your hands out of my pocket.
Hey, it's for the people, man. It's for the fans, man. I'm doing it for the fans.
We're doing 10% off.
All right. Try, guys. Trying for y'all.
6. Instead of 15%, it's always free shipping. So
there we go.
On.
Okay.
Free shipping in the
right.
United States.
That sounds...
Choke Responsibly just added new rash guards, right? So men, women, kids, and actually like youth sizes as well. So
I'm wearing a rash guard next episode.
Are you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I'll do that.
There you go. Let's go. We'll get it. Fight Back CBD. They always give us a couple bottles of CBD to give away to our listeners. So we'll get 2 winners from today's show, or 2 people will get awarded bottles of CBD whose questions we're going to answer on the show today. Check out their website. Go to their About page. They are a huge part. They're active in the substance abuse community, meaning that they're finding people that could benefit from jiu-jitsu, as part of their therapy, right? So check them out. I'm probably not doing them justice, but go to their About page. Follow them on Facebook and Instagram at FightbackCBD. Okay. So you're going to read off our podcast pages. We have a patron system. You can give a couple of bucks, and we give you a shout on the show. So take it away. All right,
good looking out to James Fisher, Brown Belt, Valor, BJJ, Ohio. Team Sean Hammonds out of... Where's he out of?
Mount Orab, which is east of Cincinnati.
Okay, we'll come check you out. Cincinnati, wherever Mount Orab is. We got to look that up. But thank you, James. Good looking out. And then we also got Chuck Redor. Chuck Redor has been a long time supporter of our show, right?
From the beginning.
Dropping
Chuck,
comments.
what's up?
Right? Who is Chuck?
Chuck is a Filipino who's 5'4". There's some context. Let's get some context. I ask any of the patrons, hey, send me a little bit about yourself, and we're going to read it on air. So this is what
he sounds like a boulder. Is what he sounds like.
He does.
5'4".
5'4", weighs in at 185,
Good
up to
Lord,
200
dude.
pounds. Yeah,
watch out, man.
He says he has no neck. I've seen him in some pictures. He got a little neck. He's got a little.
All right, hey, good looking out. Blue belt out of Gracie Kona Jiu-Jitsu Academy in Kailua Kona on the Big Island of Hawaii. All right, brother Shaka.
Chuck.
That's where I would like to go visit.
I'm the
It's a
guy
good
answering
place.
on the other side most of the time, Chuck.
Yeah, I spent some time out there. I was in Kailua, Hawaii. I was stationed out there for 4 years.
Oh yeah, really?
Yeah. So when I first started doing jiu-jitsu, it was McMap. We talked about this in another episode. And in Kailua, there was a Jiu-Jitsu Academy there.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I was only there for a short amount of time. I probably only trained for like 3 months.
Okay.
Forgot everything. But solid. That's where I think my first ground roots were, starting Jiu-Jitsu in Hawaii.
So
awesome.
what's that McMac program? I've heard it a couple of times. I'm not sure that I really fully understand it.
So it's basically the Marine Corps martial arts program is what it is. And it's a self-defense system.
Okay.
So before McMap, there used to be what was called a line system. Basically, it was showing guys how to take them down the ground, stomp the head in,
Right.
and that's basically it. There's we're not talking, right? There's no talking. This is it. So
Okay.
McMap is something a little bit more friendly,
Okay.
right? Where you can work in a humanitarian environment and communicate with people effectively with your weapon in your hand.
Okay.
So you have different levels. And then if people get aggressive, then you can combat that with throws, jiu-jitsu type moves if you're on the ground to defend yourself. So that's where it develops. So it's jiu-jitsu, judo, Muay Thai, a little bit of karate, a little bit of Aikido, anything that you can think of, it's in there somewhere.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. So our last patron, take it away.
All right, CJ Carroll, Roanoke Jiu-Jitsu. Little hole in the wall. We got to go. Hey, Little Hole in the Wall. So that was another place that I did some jiu-jitsu. Little Hole in the Wall in Kailua. I wonder where that place is right now.
Is
But
that
yeah,
the name of it?
No, it definitely. You walk up.
Hole in
like
the Wall Jiu-Jitsu?
It was kind of. That's a good name for it. Especially if you only have a 10 by 10 mat.
TM.
All right, 10 by 10 mat. All right, where are we at?
CJ Carroll, Virginia.
What's important to know about him outside of his shout out that he can give?
Yeah, so
All right, what did he request?
So much respect to CJ. He wanted us to shout out Mission 22, not just him. Mission 22 is a program for, it basically helps combat veteran suicide.
Awareness program, right?
Yeah,
Awareness program.
They'll sponsor veterans, help them get, pay their tuition to a school. And look, we're probably not going to do it justice in just this intro, so go to Mission 22 on Facebook or mission22.com. Check them out. They're doing some really cool things. Again, shout out to CJ. Okay. Let's go around the table. Let me say first, on the last episode, we had Drew Phoenix. He was supposed to be with us again today. He could not make it. He will be on another episode where we're going to talk about jiu-jitsu and underserved communities and bringing jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, he's got some good programs going on.
He's awesome. He's an awesome guy. He's got some great things to say, and he's a man of his words and a man of his word. And he's actually bringing jiu-jitsu into those communities and doing some really cool things. But we'll let him come back and talk to us about it. But he just couldn't make it here today. So today we're going to go around and we're going to do kind of what got us here. We're going to answer some listener questions.
Awesome.
I think we're going to get maybe try to get a little personal with each other here and introduce people, learn a little bit more about us and some of the things that make us tick, and obviously as it relates to jiu-jitsu.
Let's do that.
Let's go around the table. Let everybody introduce themselves, name, rank, and serial number.
Raul Benton, 4-stripe white belt from.
You've been forgetting to say that.
I have been. From Coral Springs Fight Sports, Felipe and Sofia Amarante.
Very cool.
All right, my name is Junior Vega. I am a black belt.
Is it Junior Vega?
No, it's just Junior. Oh. It's actually Jamie or Jaime. Jaime from my Spanish speakers
I'm sorry, I
out
didn't mean
there.
to interrupt you.
Jaime's fine. Jamie, but mostly go by Junior. You can find me J Vega Jr. at J Vega Jr. on Instagram. I'm also a Marine Corps vet, paramedic. Travel a lot doing work, so I try to get on the mats as much as I possibly can.
Okay.
That's me.
International man of mystery over here. Young lady?
I'm Janet. You can find me at Janet_JJ Dummies. I'm a 4th degree blue belt under Felipe and Sofia Amarante, Fight Sports Coral Springs.
I'll reintroduce myself because I am a purple belt, Milton Campus purple belt. I'm a 1-stripe purple belt. I did miss our last promotion, so I think I'm being a little punished by not getting them. But anyway, that's a whole nother story. So I'm a
Don't show. Hey, you don't show. You don't get stripes, man.
He made a joke the other day. I said something to the coach, and he says, that brown belt's getting really far away. That's the only reason I'm bringing it up.
Nice.
Wow.
But I have been a purple belt for 2 years now. July will be 2 years, or the end of this month, I think it's 2 years. So we'll say that. Hi, Philippe. Hi, Coach. Sir. Professor. So, hello. You can find me at Uncle Milty BJJ. I also take care of most of the social media. I'll let these guys know if anybody asks them a question. But again, you find us at Jiu-Jitsu Dummies online anywhere, and I'm usually the guy that's answering those questions. Or getting back to you. So again, sorry that Drew couldn't be with us, but we'll have him probably on episode 7 or 8. He'll definitely get back to us. So we're going to try to get a little personal here today, but why don't we start with the listener questions, and then we'll kind of we'll see where it takes us.
All right.
You didn't have your listener questions ready? I turned off the computer. I'll read the first one. You can get your questions ready. So we have G-Jax. It's GJAXXX. Ooh, triple X.
Triple X.
Okay, so I noticed BJJ can be pricey for some people. What do you think about local city recreational centers offering free jiu-jitsu for kids in the inner city? How can this type of training help a child overcome their environmental situations and struggles? That's 2 parts there. So let's talk about the first part. Does anybody want to take that? Just free jiu-jitsu for kids in like rec centers. Thoughts?
Do they offer
Anyone?
that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do they offer that?
I'm sure they do. Actually, let me say, I don't know if you know this. I'm not going to give out his name. We roll with a black belt right now.
Mm-hmm.
He comes and trains with us primarily on the weekends for our open mats. He is actually closing his gym. He has his own gym. He's closing his gym, and he's moving into he was supposed to be moving into like a rec center at a church.
Okay.
For whatever reason, I really didn't go that far into it, but he's going to be offering jiu-jitsu in a rec center. So, I mean, look, it's not this was specific to the inner city, but listen, it's Coral Springs, Florida. It's not so much the inner city. But, or excuse me, he's actually further, I think, either in Fort Lauderdale or Miami. So, but look, it's a little bit more about who's teaching the jiu-jitsu. If it was free in a rec center and it was a white belt, I'd be a little
Yeah, they should be.
blue belt and it's free. Still a little who give me some more information. I think once you get to kind of purple and above, you can kind of say, okay, look, this is free. Let me see if this is something for me, and then see where the journey evolves from there. If you're talking specifically about putting a kid into it, I'd just stick around during class. Don't look at it as a daycare center, like drop them off and leave, which in some academies is fine. But, go check it out. See how they treat the kids, and look, this is it's 2019. You can check out the coach online and make sure that everything's copacetic.
And are they just teaching the jiu-jitsu itself randomly, or are we talking like an actual class that has the criteria and each thing? And is it also with the respect of the mats and your professors? And
yeah, I mean, that's,
how far into it, I suppose?
That's, I would say, again, and anybody can help me out here, but I would probably say you want to check out, a regular gym and compare it to a rec center. Yeah. It doesn't cost you anything to go sit in a gym. You're always going to be welcomed by the professor in most cases. We've talked about that on episodes before, where I really think that you need to be, don't just go to one gym. You should be checking out other gyms. It's okay to check out other gyms. It's okay to go to open mats in other places. But, when you're searching for a place to do jiu-jitsu, this is a very intimate sport. We're laying on top of each other. We're putting each other in very weird and strange positions. We are trying to manipulate joints. You need to be very comfortable with wherever you go. Yeah. So going in and sitting in a class, our professor, I make jokes, but he's an incredible, instructor. And when he was on the show, he advised, go sit down, go take your kid, walk in, sit down and watch, and make sure, see how the coach treats the kids. What's the dynamic? Is he yelling at them? Does he understand how to, come down to their level and talk
Yeah.
to them. Does he know those basics of interaction? We see it all the time, like the fake black belt that's got a school, right? Those videos are
Yeah.
like the most popular on YouTube.
You
know?
you have to set up some type of longevity, and I just think in a rec center it might not be there. You know,
Yeah.
like you could just throw a class together, like, hey, I want to
Yeah.
do a potting, how to
Yeah.
pot some flowers,
Yeah.
and I'll do a class. It
But
could be
that's why I was
6
making
weeks.
that
Guitar
comparison
class, it could be
to
12 weeks,
a
right?
black belt who's owned his own school,
Yeah.
who's closing. To again, is it a white belt? Is it a blue belt? That's never coached, and it's just like, I'm going to open a school.
Yeah.
So I mean, you kind of judge them on an individual basis. Let's leave it at that, and go check out a gym that you
Legitimacy.
might have to pay.
Yeah, you want
go
some
check out
legitimacy in the training that you're getting. Again, jiu-jitsu is not just a pop-up type of sport that you can just
Yeah.
do at the mall. It's
Yeah.
like come to class at the mall. It's not the way it works.
The other side of that question is, how can this type of training help a child overcome their environmental situations and struggles? I mean, that's a completely different question. It was part of the same question, but anybody want to take that?
I think there's a precedent for that because that question almost addresses the origins of jiu-jitsu's growth, right? Because back in the day, jiu-jitsu in Brazil was practiced mostly by people from environments that were underserved.
The favelas, right?
Yeah.
That's really
Absolutely.
where jiu-jitsu came from. Right?
Absolutely. Fada, cut his teeth on his legacy is built on teaching people for free in poor areas. And even there was
Oswaldo Fada, for those who don't know. Look him up.
exactly. And there is actually stories of back in the day, people would look down their nose at people who practice jiu-jitsu because they did come from the lower social classes. And then you talk to some of these guys now who are champions and world-class champions, and they have their own schools, and they were those kids, those poor kids, and they'll tell you how jiu-jitsu saved their life in those very dangerous environments in Brazil. So I think the answer to that question is infused in the history of jiu-jitsu for sure.
Yeah. So I mean, we're all big advocates of jiu-jitsu because we do it. Janet's probably the only one of us that's coaching kids or has coached children, right, at fight sports. But I mean, yes, can it help? Absolutely. Can it help you overcome your environment? Absolutely. It teaches you so much, from respect to how to carry yourself, how to talk to an adult, how to have an actual child to adult conversation, just how to treat your peers. I mean, just discipline. It goes how to take care of yourself. I mean, you can go on.
A lot of social skills that they can learn
yes,
just by being in
skills.
jiu-jitsu. It's something that's
And listen,
drastically
when you're talking about inner cities, unfortunately, it's a fact that there are a lot of children who just have a one-parent home. Maybe it's the mother, maybe it's the father. More often, it seems to be it's the mom and her children. There might not always be that male role model for a boy or a girl, for a male or female child. So, it's sometimes the Jiu-Jitsu Academy is the only place that they're getting that.
Sure.
Now, obviously, there are women coaches and male coaches, but Jiu-Jitsu is dominated, has been traditionally dominated by males. So most of the schools just happen to be, we're lucky enough to be in an environment where it's a husband-wife team.
Maybe if they
Felipe.
could find a way to find more funding, right? How can we fund more jiu-jitsu programs at a low cost to kids in the communities? Not just like you're saying, lower income communities, because again, it's just exposure. Those kids, if they're not doing something, right, they're going to get into trouble. Right. So if you keep them busy, you give them somebody that they become accountable to for their growth, right? And I think Drew kind of spoke about that in the other episode. What we're losing is that connectivity, right? That tribe, right? That mentality of being together. And when you're around more people, like what do kids resort to now? Being on their phones and playing video games.
Yeah.
They're self-sufficient in their own little space. But
Nothing drives me more crazy than my 15-year-old. She
I got one
perched
of
the
those.
phone.
I got one of those.
She walks around with the phone while she's doing her chores. She perched the phone on the windowsill. She's got the earphones, the earbuds in, not paying attention to anyone, and she's doing the dishes. But then she went to clean the counter. She takes the phone and she purchases it someplace else to clean the counter.
Nice.
Drives me nuts. So yeah, these devices are raising our kids for the most part, and for a lot of kids, jiu-jitsu is there.
Yeah.
Like sometimes, hey, listen, they're getting this discipline there, but this hour and a half, 2 hours maybe is the only time that they're not in front of a computer, a television, their PlayStation.
Well, I'll share my 15-year-old daughter's story. Janet might want to share a story too. I don't know, but my 15-year-old daughter's story is how is it that you always, every time I see you, from the moment that you wake up till you go to sleep, right, you have your phone in your hand.
I already know where
But
this is
every time
going.
I call you,
You don't pick up.
nobody ever answers. Why is that?
Yeah.
But you
That-
always have your phone.
You're being
That happens
sweet.
with my
You're kidding,
26-year-old.
right? Are you kidding me right now? You're
It
kidding.
does. That's not. My 26-year-old does that. I text her.
How is it possible?
I get a response 3 days later. When she comes to visit, she does not move without the phone in her hand.
Exactly,
Now,
like-
and I do the same thing. If I don't text somebody back, it's only because I can't in that moment. But I don't wait 3 days. So it's just good luck, buddy, because it doesn't get any
Priorities.
better. It doesn't
Right?
get any better.
Yeah.
You have, how old's your daughter?
17.
17.
She'll text me back
Oh, you see mine.
because
She knows.
You gotta choke her out.
Oh, okay.
don't text me back.
I
Mom
can't-
goes on high alert, and then I start calling. Where are you? Why aren't you texting me back? Are you okay? Are you still alive? Or just give me a
You better
sign?
answer quick that you're alive, because if not,
Drives
Mama
me
Bear is coming for you.
nuts. That's what. Well, anyway, look, the Jiu-Jitsu is great. We
Can I-
recommend it for all children. You should at least try. Your children, it's like you'd get. If you lived by the beach, you would get them swimming lessons. Every kid can benefit from Jiu-Jitsu every single day of the week, every time they leave their house.
Can I also just add, we were talking about how the kids learn discipline and the social, my gravy, talking with their other friends and everything.
Watch your mouth, Janet.
Sorry.
Ooh, you're supposed to do that.
But also, they are getting new friends, not just their school friends, but they're getting these friends as well. And sorry, Mauricio, I'm going to talk without you about you and your child. But he has mentioned before that Gabriel would rather hang out now with his jiu-jitsu friends rather than his school friends
Yeah.
because they just act differently. They're much more respectful and you have something more in common on top of games and such. So they're also getting that great friendship.
I'm
Camaraderie.
I'm not going to give a name. Not like Janet and outing people.
Sorry, Mauricio.
I am
Gabriel?
not going to mention the person, but we have a very good friend. Well, we all know him, whose son was getting bullied, fought back against that bully in school. That bully showed up at our school, is now trained at our school, and they are now friends.
No way.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Way.
way.
That's a great story.
That is, and
like an after-school
it would,
special.
yeah, right. That's right.
That's got
that homely feeling.
That feels good.
It's an ABC after school special. that is
The
a
more
real
you know.
story that actually goes on, and the kid has been pointed out. And look, that kid is. It's funny because I see him the kid that was the bully. I know the child that was bullied, and he's like the most soft-spoken kid in the world. And then I see this kid leave with his parents, and I'm like, these parents probably don't even realize that their son was the bully in school, And
What sold
but,
him? Was it a double leg? Did he double leg him or what?
Yeah,
Did he really?
he double-legged him. Yeah,
That's
I think he
awesome.
clocked him too.
yeah. I don't want to go too far in the
that's
story because then everybody will know who it is, and
No,
that
yeah,
person
let's
will
stop it
maybe
there.
get upset with
Stop
me.
that there.
But yeah, it's
Good job on the double leg.
Yeah, they took him down, and yeah, I can't go too far into the story
Okay,
because
okay.
we'll out the person. I don't want them to be upset with us, but yeah, look, it's jiu-jitsu is an incredible sport, and like.
But as a
we're not-
parent, it's nice to know that your child could defend themselves
Sure.
if necessary, which, every parent hopes that never happens.
But you have to be able
But
to.
it's nice to know. Mm-hmm. And even if it's not, taking double leg and punching and taking, but at least it's enough to get away.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really what matters,
Yeah.
do that.
And not to get too dark, but here I go. And I'm not an expert in it, but a lot of around the country over the past 20 years, the school shootings that have happened are kids who were bullied, kids who feel defenseless in the face of, constant aggression, and it, culminates to the tragedy that is school shootings. Now, I'm not going to say 100% because I haven't researched it, but most of them are kids who, when you looked at their life right before the shooting, they were definitely on the lower social rung of the ladder, and that, there's a definite lack of confidence that happens when you're there. And I mean, if you can get into something that boosts your kids' confidence and at least moves them out of there, I mean, just the mental health aspect of that.
I think the biggest part, like for people like that, what you just said before, where the camaraderie. Look, we're all friends because of jiu-jitsu. We probably none of us would have ever met. These kids, that somebody posted the picture of the kids bowling the other day, and it was like they posted in the Fight Sports group. These kids, they're such different personalities. I really don't think any of those kids would ever probably be friends if they just met in school. Mm-hmm. So, again, the jiu-jitsu, the brotherhood, the camaraderie, the sisterhood, again, we go back to what Drew said on the last episode, the tribe. We lose that, but we do have that little tribe. Yeah. I know when I don't feel good or I had a bad day, I'm like, man, and I'm not going to get to jiu-jitsu tonight either. Oh, I got to figure out a way to get there, and it's the thing that lets me, even like on days that we shoot, it's very difficult for me to go to jiu-jitsu in the morning because we've got a lot of things to do, the setup, and I went today. I have to. I gotta make it because my weekend is going to be completely different. And I love the open mats at Fight Sports. They're doing a family. We do. I know.
I was there 2 weeks ago. Maybe
been in and out of town, but they really were pushing this, family jiu-jitsu, and it's incredible to be rolling with
I love that vibe.
Yeah, it's been great. It's like the kids are on one side and their parents are doing jiu-jitsu on the other side, and then every once in a while, especially the older kids come over, like Mauricio's son, he'll come over and roll with his dad. I get like the warm and fuzzies watching him roll with his son. I mean, how cool is that? That's fucking amazing. So that brotherhood, that camaraderie is definitely something that we hear about these kids with school shootings. They're always an outcast or an outsider in some regard. And again, we're not experts, but we live right down here. We're all right around the Coral Springs, Parkland area. So it's affected our community. So we do kind of know. Yeah. That kid was staying with another family. I'm not sure exactly what happened to his own family. Right. I'm not sure if parents passed, but he was staying with another family. I mean, right there starts to indicate that there were problems. Right. He doesn't have his own family to live with or go to. So, jiu-jitsu.
Do it.
Yeah. Let's go into another question. Same person from Instagram, Jay Jax. What do you think are the benefits of jiu-jitsu for kids with ADHD and ADD?
Growing up, right, ADHD hasn't always been around, right? I'm not sure when.
You were hyper.
Yeah, you were just hyper.
Don't give him so much sugar.
It was there. It
That's
just wasn't labeled necessarily.
It didn't have a name. Mm-hmm. It's called give that kid a spanking. Right? Get the belt, get the chancleta, whatever, right? Get something. That kid needs to get his ear
Wait
pulled.
until your father gets home.
Right?
Yeah.
That was the worst.
Yeah, that's a whole nother, I think, subject. But again, we're saying the same thing. Yes, can it help? Now, we're not medical professionals. But I do know there are kids. You probably could, that there are hyper kids. We'll call them hyper.
No, I think
I don't want to diagnose anybody.
I would say that as a kid, there's a lot of energy that needs to be expressed, right? Yeah. And you have to find a way. You have to give that kid an outlet, right? What do you give him? Let him go run. Take him to the playground. He's gonna have a good time. Yeah. But if you keep him sitting in the classroom,
bottled up,
or you expect him to be 4 or 5 years old and listen. That's why, Felipe was talking about dealing with little kids is difficult because their attention span is so short, right? So you can't get this 3-year-old to do anything for 30 minutes, right? So
anything more than 45, they kind of venture out.
Fade away.
But like you said, during the school year, you have them sitting all day for an 8-hour day, and then you go home. And then by the time mom or dad or both get home and they're tired, just sit down and calm down. But they've been sitting all day too, which would be a good outlet, taking them to jiu-jitsu. That's a full hour of movement.
Joe Rogan talks on his podcast about, let's talk about adults for a second. You have a rough day at work. You come home, you sit on the couch, you grab a beer or a glass of wine. You watch some TV, maybe you watch the news. It's even more upsetting than your day was. And you do nothing to expend that energy, that stress. There's no release of that. Whether it's jiu-jitsu or go for a run or a walk, take the dog out, go exercise for a half hour, an hour. You're not expending any of that energy. That energy needs to be released. So you've had a hard day at work. You're having a shitty evening. You're self-medicating essentially with that glass of wine, beer, or a bunch, right? Yeah. And that never goes anywhere. Okay, now think about a child. Go to school, get bullied, homework, come home, mom yells at you, go do your chores, and that child never expends that energy or that stress.
And a 15-minute recess is not going to cut it.
Exactly.
I see that with my.
Is there even
with
gym
my
classes
grandson.
anymore? Do they do gym down here?
Not really.
Do we have gym classes?
I don't think so.
Do you know you have younger
Well, I
children?
know for
it's
high
not
school, it was
even
like
like-
1 year.
Yeah, it's not
Just
even
your freshman
required.
year.
I think they have,
It's not
right?
like
It's
super
like an
required.
elective now.
Yeah.
It is, and you know what? You can even do it online. So
Wow.
really, you don't even have to
Really?
do it.
Wow.
Like I see it with my grandson, he's 15 months, and this kid has so much energy. He does not stop moving, like not even for a second. He's moving. He's not laying on the floor, crying. He's moving, right? So if we don't keep the kid busy by taking him to the park, let him run around, he's gonna have that energy that he can't expel any other way. And I think it just carries on to the point where, hey, now you're sitting in front of a computer playing a video game. That's the only other option you have, right? But there's other things out there, right? Like soccer, youth sports, right? But jiu-jitsu, again, it's a good place to grow up with other like-minded individuals.
Yeah.
Right? And I think jiu-jitsu is different too for kids because it's a very personal sport, right? It's a combat sport where you're grabbing each other. So these little kids are having different interactions than kids that never touch each other. And that's what happens. Maybe as a bully, right? You grab a kid who's never been touched before, and you're able to manipulate that kid however they want, right? Where a jiu-jitsu kid it's used to being grabbed, and he can defend himself based off that, right?
They're more comfortable.
They're more comfortable being touched, and hey, they can defend themselves and turn around real quick. And
I
deal
get
with
the
the
I get the
situation.
question a lot at work, like from mothers and parents, and they ask about oh, where should I take my kid for jiu-jitsu, or what should I look for? And I just had this conversation with someone the other day, and I said I always start out with like, where do you live?
Yeah,
Come to Fight Sports if you're close. I do also how old is your child? And
you can tell them now?
Point them in the direction of finding a jiu-jitsu a Gracie bully proof program. There aren't many. I don't think there are any in South Florida. I think the closest one is like Melbourne or higher. I believe. We actually went on a website and searched from like the main Gracie site, and it actually gives you certified locations. There were none in South Florida. But the Gracie Bully Proof program is an incredible program that teaches them how to use their voice before they ever teach them how to use their body, before they ever teach them how to use their hands or touch another child. Like, talking to an adult, don't touch me. And there's great videos online. Again, I probably won't ever do them justice, but that is the first suggestion I make to people when they ask me about jiu-jitsu, especially for a younger child. This is the best place, especially like a 3 and a 4-year-old. I think we've kind of talked about 4-year-olds, probably like a good gateway to start. But imagine that child learning how to speak to an adult or speak to somebody who's trying to touch them in whatever way, whether it's another child or an adult.
Yeah.
Learning how to imagine. When you hear martial arts, you don't ever hear anybody talking about, well, we teach them how to use their voice first. That's the most powerful tool they have, whether it's yelling or saying, don't touch me, or I'm going to tell my mommy. That, and that's an amazing part of the Bullyproof program. So, check it out online. But I recommend that. And listen, I don't like to, advertise for them because I go to Fight Sports. But listen, that is probably the best advice for somebody who's looking to get their kid into jiu-jitsu. Now, on the other side of that program is very structured. And from what I understand, if you're going to have the Bullyproof program in your studio, in your academy, you have to go to like California and get certified by them at the main Gracie location. I think where it's essentially Henner and Hedon where they have their facility with their dad. So I think maybe that's why there aren't a lot of locations, especially here in South Florida. But there are tons of schools that have great kids programs, including ours. We have the benefit. Our school has the benefit of having the husband-wife team. And I think that makes a lot of parents very comfortable. It's not you just showing up and there's a man. We have female coaches and we have a female black belt at the same level as her husband who is there in the facility every day. That's comforting, for any, especially, mom or dad with a small kid. I'm going to just leave my child here especially when it's like a little girl. I have girls, so I know it's like the first thing I'm thinking about. Way too many men here. Way too many men here. Yeah. That's what I would be thinking. But to see, female coaches, a female black belt, and then staff and other children. I think that's extremely comforting. So again, it comes down to making sure that you check out the gyms. But when people ask me where they should go, or what should I do, or
but now
Taekwondo or Jiu-Jitsu,
No,
I usually kind of start there.
Tell them. Go to episode 6, Jiu-Jitsu Dummies, because your question's answered right there.
Absolutely.
We just answered that question. I think we answered that in another episode too, right?
Yeah, it comes up a lot. I mean, we get that question a lot, so we'll keep on answering it, and I do like to get different perspectives. But let's jump into the next question. Do you have it open? No.
Hey, listen, but here's a question that I asked before. What can we do to get more funding, right? How can we possibly get more funding to open up programs like that? But I guess it goes into, who's going to run those programs then, right? When you do have the funding.
I think one of the things that I want to do, and I think I kind of spoke to Bo about this, the brains behind the camera over here, the creative guy, our executive producer. I think we've spoken this not at length, but we've kind of hit on it, where people have said, raise money with GoFundMe for the show, and to keep. You got to kind of have there needs to be a reason. It can't be so I can talk about jiu-jitsu. And one of the things that I had thought about was, and other people have done this isn't an original idea, but, to do basically like scholarship programs for kids, where we'll pay your first year, so raising money helps keeps the show on. But, a big portion of that would go to,
sponsoring an athlete.
Sponsoring a child. Yeah. And is it an underprivileged kid? Is it somebody with a good story? Is it the A student, the straight A student? But it was one of the suggestions that I had made. And, I mean, that's one way to do it.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Yes, you're awarding scholarships. And look, we're in a place where I like to say we're in the Mecca of MMA. Yeah. Specifically jiu-jitsu, but there's an American top team on every corner down here, in a good way. They're all over the place. The main location is right here in Coconut Creek. We have plenty of gyms that would probably say, listen, of course I'm going to teach a guy jiu-jitsu, especially if you're flipping the bill. Nobody's going to say no to that. Yeah. But, maybe doing some type of scholarship programs. And I know that there are others that exist, and if anybody knows any of them out there, post them on our Facebook or in the group or in the podcast group. Shoot me an email. Let's talk about it. But it was one of the things that we had thought about of, okay, what could we do to raise money for the show, but also do something good with it? So some type of scholarship program for specifically for kids. Fight Back CBD does something for people with substance abuse. Not that they got that completely covered for the whole country, but that's something that they do. Mission 22 that we mentioned at the beginning of the show. They're doing things like it's about finding. But we're talking about jiu-jitsu. Well, why not help? People pay for it and find it, and maybe that's something that we can think about a little bit more, and maybe that'll be the way that we start to raise a little bit of money. We'll see. So before I go into the last question, we talked a little bit about getting to know each other, and I talked to Raul even before the show. Said, do you mind getting a little bit more personal with your medical issues? I know that I'm okay with it. I had a heart attack a couple of years ago. June was my 2-year anniversary. But Raul, before I even had my heart attack, you had a transplant.
Transplant.
Kidney?
I did, yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So yeah.
What did they transplant?
It all started with I needed a kidney transplant. My grandfather and my aunt passed away from it, so it runs in my family, kidney issues. And so in 2005, my brother gave me a kidney, which was pretty cool. It was kind of weird because we found out his blood type was AXB, which means it's 2 different blood types coexisting. It's not a combination. And they were thinking that he consumed his twin in the embryo. So it was a really weird situation. Anyway, that has nothing to do with anything.
That's crazy. That's a whole nother episode, Raul. I don't want to get that personal. Jeez.
I don't want to go deep. I went embryo deep. I went into the cells. Anyway. But so that happened. And that
so that happened. There's that.
So and what's funny is that it really shifted a lot. My wife will tell you, I had just gotten out of the Marine Corps. I was
So
running,
this is how many years ago from now?
This is 05.
This is 05, okay.
Well, I got out of the Marine Corps in 01, but I didn't get the surgery until 05.
So it's kidney failure, or is there a
failure.
name for it? Is it a disease?
Yeah,
Is it-
it's FS. No, NS, NF, I don't know. It's not, I have no idea what it is anymore. It's been years. It's been almost 20 years I've been dealing with it. Alonzo Mourning also had it, the same exact one that I have, because there's multiple kidney diseases that occur, and I have the same one as him. But they just slowly degrade and stop operating, and you usually inherit it from your family.
So is 2 kidneys failed at the same time?
Yeah, both of them.
So can one kidney fail and you're fine with the other?
If it happens that way.
Okay.
If it happens,
but you
that
had
way.
double kidney failure,
Right.
Okay.
Exactly. So prior to that, I had just got out of the Marine Corps. Running 3 miles every morning, 5 miles every Saturday was normal for me. That completely changed everything. You start to realize and appreciate the organs in your body and how they help. And just a regular day, just walking around, breathing, and just functioning, you don't realize the miracle of that every day.
Are you
Yeah.
got kidney failure just from one moment to the next, or
So it was diagnosed in
or-
'96, actually.
okay? So you knew it was a.
That's what got me out of the Marine Corps, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was medically retired. And so fast forward 05, just went to Connecticut, came back down here, discovered Jiu-Jitsu for real. The first school I ever had gone to,
So the failure was when?
05.
05, you have the
The
transplant.
failure was in 96. I had the transplant in 05.
Okay, all right, okay.
And so then, life went on, and discovered Jiu-Jitsu. And I don't even remember what year I started, 16, 17. And, it was almost like joining the Marines again. My memories of being in the Marines was, if I live to be 1,000,000 years old and never have another fun decade, I'll look back at my decade in the Marine Corps and be like, I lived a good life. And I rediscovered that when I joined Jiu-Jitsu, because there was that camaraderie, and I think that, there's such thing as camaraderie going to school, right? Just going to academic school or working together, right? But there's a different kind of camaraderie when all of you suffer together.
Oh, yeah.
When you question whether you're going to get out of a situation alive together, that's a different kind of friend. That's a different kind of comrade. And I found that in Jiu-Jitsu. As time was going on, they found that the kidneys that they left in me, because they just transplanted a kidney in me and left my old ones in there, were becoming cancerous.
That's standard operating procedure. That's the way it was done back then.
Exactly.
Right? So it wasn't
And
hey, we forgot to take him out. It wasn't like
Well,
that.
no, yeah.
That was the way this was.
Right,
Okay,
exactly.
just so everybody understands.
Exactly. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a nephrologist, but I understand that in order to transplant it, they transplant it in the front. In order to take him out, they take him out from the rear back then. So it would be 2 surgeries. There's just no point in it. So they just leave the old ones in there to atrophy.
Okay.
But what happens is that they almost always get cancerous. They expect that later. So let me go back a little bit. I had been going through jiu-jitsu for a long time. And then that surgery happened. And
This is now you're training with us at Fight
training
Sports.
with you guys. Fight
You
Sports.
came in. You didn't
Having
come
a
in
great
necessarily with an issue. You didn't know about
Not
the
at
cancer
all.
yet.
Yeah. I didn't know.
And
I was
we were
fine.
training with you. I know
Were
you
you a
post
spazzy? Were
every
you a
once.
spazzy white belt?
In the beginning, I was.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a different
It
kind of
was-
spazzy at your size, though.
But what kind of spazzy
but
shit
at,
were you
at our
doing?
size, I should say.
Well,
Wait.
I was, but I rolled with this guy a lot, right? Which was a nightmare. It just is a nightmare. Because he didn't.
Can you elaborate on that, please?
So I'll say that I'll say that there were, the Bible has 4 horsemen, but there were 3 horsemen in my life. There was Milton. There was.
You mean Uncle Milty BJJ? That's Auntie Milky BJJ to you.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know where this is going.
There was I forget his name. His name was Carlos, the nicest guy in the world, but man, he would brutalize me. And there was another individual. I completely forget his. I feel so bad that I
Roll
forget
with
his name. Giancarlo is the guy. Giancarlo is the guy.
Giancarlo,
he was merciless on me.
Yeah.
And
Very strong.
And there was this other. And there's this other one guy. And I point the three of you out because it seemed like because of my size, they were defending themselves like against a mugging or something. Like, why are you guys hurting me like this? Anyway, I say all that to say. My goal in jiu-jitsu was not to choke anyone out, to submit anybody. It was literally just to survive those three. And
was the other one the guy that everybody calls Ouch?
No,
not
he's
Ouch.
actually very gentle to you guys.
With
it was
his
another
knee
guy
on
who was
chest.
actually married. He moved away. He's a real nice guy. Facebook friends, and I feel like a monster forgetting his name. Nicest guy, but he was not nice rolling. Anyway, I say all that to say that I had made a lot of milestones in jiu-jitsu. It was the greatest part of my life. And then they found that the cancer in my kidneys, one of my kidneys, I went through the surgery. It's supposed to be, and it is, very highly advanced and robotic and all that. They used a robot to go in there. Got the kidney out, no cancer whatsoever. Everything's great. I had never gone through anything like that in my life. In fact, even the kidney transplant, which was way more invasive, I was up and walking and touring Nashville 7 days later. That's how quick I healed from it. And, it was fine. So I had never had a precedent in my life of going through a surgery and that deep healing that has to happen. I'd never experienced
long recovery
that.
time.
Exactly. So the doctor said, hey, maybe you might wait. It was December. He said, maybe you might want to wait until April to start rolling in jiu-jitsu again.
And he happened to be
a jiu-jitsu,
a practitioner, right?
He is, yeah.
The doctor was
my surgeon.
Yeah.
My surgeon.
So he knew how
absolutely.
the stresses on the body, and he
exactly
understood.
so.
Okay.
And how much time you did not want to have to take off.
Absolutely, and he understood that, and he said it's very imperative that you don't start again until April. He rolls in Miami, but I still had not healed, and I had started going back to fight sports in April, May, and around May I felt a pain that wasn't like a pain. There's different kinds of pains, right? Yeah. There's when you're running, when your heart's about to blow out your chest, you push through. You're doing 100 burpees, just keep going. You know what I'm saying? There's such thing as that. And then there's, like you break your finger. There's no pushing through a broken anything, right? Yeah. There's no pushing through something tearing inside of you.
Something's not right.
It's like where you kind of freeze and your eyes open wide and like, all right, just chill. And that happened, and
I feel like I remember when there was a time when you came in, and you looked like you were sick, and I asked you, and you were like, "Yeah, I'm just kind of feeling low on the weather." I think you blamed it on work, but then you were like gone, like a couple weeks after that, and then like I was like, "Where's Raul?" And you weren't around.
Absolutely.
I think that if the timelines, I think that's kind of what happened around that time.
And there were definitely red flags happening as I was rolling in times before that, and I didn't listen to it, and I just kept pushing through it, and to the point where I got injured bad enough I had to literally just completely drop out.
Okay.
And luckily I have friends that I do roll with who are in their own schools. I just kind of do it on the off time, but because I didn't respect that, it literally took me out of the game for a long time. So I think the past 4 months is the first time I've felt 100%. I've even tested myself. I've done some workouts, some extreme workouts, some core workouts, and I don't feel any of that, none of it. So I'm ready to get back in it 100%.
So let's go back because we kind of jumped ahead, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
So you find out that one or both have cancer?
One
of them has cancer. So there's still
another one still there, and it can still become cancerous as well.
Okay, so they took it out. Prognosis is
good.
No, yeah, you're good.
In fact, like if you never had kidney issues, they would have left it in almost anybody's body. It was like barely perceptible in the when they looked in the CAT scan and all that. But because I had kidney issues before, even to me it was different. Like 1 millimeter was enough to take it out. They would wait for a healthy person 5 millimeters. They would have waited.
You're saying doctors. 5 millimeters of
a lesion, like lesion, cancerous
okay.
lesion.
All right.
Yeah. But because of the fact that I already had kidney issues and a new, a foreign kidney in my body, they took it out. pretty early, pretty fast, which, I trust what they said. And, at the end of the day, when I look back, I should have listened more to my body,
Yeah.
I think we've all gone through that to a degree, but
Yeah.
I definitely paid for it. And so now I got to gear back up, get back in the fray. But, I definitely wanted to not experience that tearing feeling and like deep in the body. That just felt weird.
So when are you coming back? When are we going to see you at Fight Sports? I know that you have some friends that you train
so I
with
do,
in other places,
but that's extremely inconsistent and inconvenient because it's far away.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go ahead and talk to Professor. He's already talked to me before, but talk to Professor about starting open mat and then getting into the curriculum full time.
Okay, with us again. With us again.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it's just nowhere else.
Okay.
Yeah. The only way I'd go somewhere else is if I moved out of the state, out of the area, But
which we won't allow that. You can't go. Well, I appreciate. We've talked about it a couple. Well, we've kind of danced around it a couple of times, and I wasn't sure if it was by design, on purpose, or we talked before.
Oh no.
I asked you.
I have a tendency to bore myself when I talk, so a lot of times I don't go into things. Well,
you're basically on a talk show now. So This is people want to hear an hour of talking on their way to work.
Absolutely.
So you're in the right place. So wow, that's crazy. Yeah, I mean, I won't go into my whole story because we don't have the time, but I do understand. You just said at the end there, not seeing the signs. My signs were running up the stairs at work, and I'm like, I just got to lose a few pounds. Getting up to the top and being winded, and then just telling myself, I just probably got to drop about 5 pounds. And I wasn't listening. Who knew? 44, right before my 45th birthday, and I'm not thinking heart attack. I'm not thinking heart problems, or clogged arteries. Stopped eating fast food years ago. Don't drink soda. Only eat chicken and turkey. So you got to listen to your body. So I'm glad to hear you're okay, man. I can't wait to have you back.
Yeah, I can't wait to be back.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, so, just to say though, can I just say, because I did comment on the 3 horsemen.
Oh yes, I wrote down here, defend myself, because we're going to talk about that. You're not getting off that easy.
No, I just want to give a shout out to our resident black belt, because everybody I rolled with, I learned so much, but I really enjoyed the when we roll. The patience
it has nothing to do with the fact that you're half his size.
Nothing to do that he's got 5 kilos on me.
No. The patience that you show when you roll, and that's if wherever you happen to roll, whether it's at our school, wherever, if you ever have the opportunity to roll with Junior over here, you will walk away from that roll, no question, a much better practitioner.
Thank you, brother.
I really enjoy your patience and the time it took. Yeah, especially during my spaz times. I appreciate that.
So I think, for like you were saying, I think just because of the size difference, we probably rolled a dozen times, if that. Yeah. But not like consistently.
No.
I'm probably like 160.
Right.
And I haven't been too much heavier than that for a while. And you're what? How what are you in at?
Kilo wise or?
No, just pounds.
260.
260. So that's a huge difference.
Huge difference, yeah. And I gravitate towards the bigger guys.
Yeah, and it would only make sense.
Yeah, because I don't like being too ginger all the time. You know what I'm saying? It's just aggravating to death. But it is good because they're more, they move quicker. Yeah. So I get a different perspective, but I like rolling with bigger guys. So.
If I'm going to roll with a smaller guy, and now this is kind of my default setting, is I'm going to let them attack. Yeah. I'm going to let them work their game, and and I can work on my defense.
Right.
Because honestly, I think I'm usually the biggest guy there at about 225 to 230 at any given time. So there's not usually, I think, Demetrius said he was like 200 pounds today.
Is he?
Like, oh, man. Didn't think he was that heavy.
Is Russell?
He's been gone.
Yeah, he has been around.
Oh, Big Russ, man,
he was a monster.
Yeah. He's got
like Alexis stood up and
300. Yeah, did you hear that? Like Alexis stood up,
started rolling with it. That guy was monster. That was a monster.
Yeah, no, he was a really big dude. But yeah, I mean, usually I think I'm at least the heaviest. I mean, I'm not the the tallest, the most built or the tallest, but I think I'm usually the heaviest. I can't think. So I have to
with your skill.
Yeah. Well, I'm getting there. I definitely play. We talked about this on the last episode that we have a large pool of white belts now. So I mean, it's taught me that patience, and I love to teach. Obviously, I love to talk, and I love to teach, and I love. You mind if I tell you something? And get into that with somebody. So now I'm like, listeners, people to listen to me, and they kind of have to. Because what are they going to tell you? No. So I do love that part of it. I love like, hey, let me teach you this, or if I keep on getting them with the same thing, or like just a transition or a pass, I'd like to teach them how to defend it.
Do you wait until you're on side control and make them listen? You're gonna hear
most of the time. No, I usually I'm with especially with the white belts now. Again, leave. Higher belts. No, I'm definitely gonna roll a little bit harder for my level and above. Typically, regardless of size, because
No, I think you should.
You roll pretty hard. As a matter of fact, I've said it before. Like, you love to joke around, but as soon as we slap bump, there's no. And I like to talk when I roll. You're not like that. I like to talk and maybe joke around. Like you just did something, and I like to make a joke. You're all business.
No, I don't.
But the second
Junior's pretty all business.
Yeah. Then when you stop,
handshake.
You stop, you shake hands, and he's a different person again.
And I'll tell you, the only thing I
serious.
see different about myself when I roll, that's just the way I roll. I roll quiet, I don't talk. That's always been the way I've done it. But I will catch myself laughing to myself about something stupid that I did. Like, man, that was really stupid. And I'll just laugh as I'm rolling.
And we're definitely.
I'm not sure if we all do that, but I definitely do.
I'll laugh out loud. I verbalize everything.
I can hear you on the other side of the mat.
Wow.
But that's, well, number one, even though, our coach, Professor Felipe, is always, he'll joke if we're talking too much.
Yeah.
If you're talking, but you're rolling,
Right.
he's not saying anything to you. If you're just talking and teaching, he'll tell
using
you.
it to take a break.
Yeah, save it for Facebook.
Yeah.
But so I do kind of feel comfortable in being able to joke around because he likes to joke around. When I roll with him, it's almost always
business.
somebody's laughing.
No, really.
No, I'm probably talk the most with him. Don't do that. What? I'm not going to pay you this month. So
That's awesome.
So. Yeah, I like to play around. He likes to play around.
Yeah.
As long as you're still going hard.
Yeah, I don't think that he loves that I play around back.
Yeah.
He's up here, I'm down here.
For sure.
I should be listening more than I'm speaking, but I don't.
Can I ask you a question to Janet? Let me ask you a question. So you've been doing it for a while. Have you changed
For about 4 years.
4 years? Have you noticed a difference when you're walking just out and about in the world and there is a guy who, a complete stranger? Are you less physically intimidated since you're training than you were before? Is there no difference whatsoever? Do you not even think about it? Or
keep in mind you are answering for all women everywhere.
Everywhere on the planet.
Well, the same rule that I tell my daughter, I use for myself. Always be aware of where you're at and who's around you. She does not anymore, but she used to walk home from school. But the girls, all the kids, they have the earbuds in. They're more here on their phone than anything else. Yeah. And I tell her, when you're walking, your eyes are up. When you get home, then you can do what you want on your phone. Yeah. But while you're out and about, you need to be paying attention to that silly thing here, this person there, that car that has gone by twice and now looped around for the third time. Because, and so I've heard that if there's somebody coming at you, the more eye contact, like I'm looking at you, I know what you wear, about how high, your height, your weight. That's what's more intimidating for that person because they're like, they're aware. I'm going to leave that person alone.
They lost the element of surprise.
Yeah. So even if I've never trained a day in my life, I've always eyes up when I'm out.
But do you feel more comfortable now? Can you think back and go,
Well, funny, because, back then before I started training, you think, I would be okay. 4 years now into it, I think I would have died. There's no way.
These are like survive somebody grabbing
There's
you.
no way. If I could fight myself now 4 years ago, I'd probably not be very nice to myself. And we have a new female now, and she said the same thing. I used to get in fights all the time. She goes, but now rolling with you,
I
thought I knew something.
I don't know. I don't know
what I don't know.
I don't know what I don't know.
Right.
Now I know what I didn't know.
Right.
I didn't know shit.
Follow me on this. Like the longer I train, the more I realize, oh shit, how much I have to learn and like how much I don't know. And it's like, sometimes the guys that maybe I submit or maybe beat up, or again, four horsemen, your thing, what you said before. The guys that look at me like that, like they don't understand. Like I have the black. There are men that are doing that same stuff to me. Like Professor, handles me. Right. I forget his name. Carlos, who's a black belt that comes and trains at our open mats. He handles me. I mean, and he tells me, oh, like I'm gonna like. Usually after, but he's like, I practiced this on you. Like, when somebody tells you like, hey, I'm practicing this on you because I know you. I'm gonna be. My favorite
thing rolling with Sophia is she'll go, I wasn't using strength. I was trying to use technique. My ass is on the mat. Beat up. That was everything
what I think is a demoralizing line is when you tell somebody, man, I haven't hit that move in a while.
That's rough. That's why you're laughing to yourself.
That's why I'm laughing because sometimes I'll say, I'm like, oh,
I have a really good one. Let me see if I remember this correctly. So last week, White Belt, he has, and I think he's going to listen. So I say this with much respect, and I think he's a great guy. He says to me, he's a White Belt. He was in the Army. He's done a little bit of training, I guess, maybe kind of.
I think we spoke. Maybe he did some combative.
Yeah, he's done some stuff. So he's definitely. You could tell this isn't his first rodeo, but he's a White Belt. And we finished rolling, and I guess we didn't partner up with anybody else, and we were going to roll again. And he says, "Hey, do you mind if I go a little harder?" And I'm like I went, like. Pretty hard letting him do his stuff, and he says, like 90%. And I'm like, how much were you going? He was like, I was doing about 50. And I'm like, this son of a bitch. Like, is he telling me he just took it easy on me?
Okay.
Because that's what I'm hearing.
Right.
I'm like, I didn't say this to him, but I did. I said, how hard were you going? He says 50%. And I was like, okay. I'm like, you can go 100%. Go 100%. In my mind, I'm like, I want to fucking choke this guy right now. Is he telling me like I just took it easy on you, Grandpa? He's a little bit younger than me. Again, love him. He's a really great guy. I actually see him being he will be in this crew one day. He's like just a really nice guy. He's got a daughter that trains there as well. Super sweetheart of a guy. But then we rolled, and then like and he has also in the past. When I do submit him, he'll look at the clock and he's telling me how much longer he's lasted. But he's not realizing that, listen, I'm not being cocky. I could have submitted you 50 times.
It took 5 minutes to submit me instead of 3 laps.
Yeah. He's like, I lasted till oh, look, there's only a minute left in a 6-minute roll, so. Okay. So I'm kind of putting all this together. So I didn't take it as cockiness. I think in his mind, he really, hey,
he survived. He said, maybe he's gauging it that way,
He went 100, He went 100%. I submitted him in probably less than a minute, maybe even less than 30 seconds. And, submitted him, kept on rolling. We rolled for a full 6 minutes. And at the end, I said, you were better when you were rolling 50% because he got spazzy. He got spazzy, but I think he learned, I didn't get too much.
What did he say from that comment?
There was a lot of smiling. He smiled a lot like, wow, that was... got me, yeah. But I don't know exactly. I didn't conversate with him a lot after because I was just like, in my mind, though. All right, I'm gonna submit him fast, just to, and he really did get spazzy. So actually, his 50% was better than his 100% because all he did, came at me so hard that he gave me so much more to catch. So, but I just thought that was funny. He was like,
that is funny.
Yeah.
Can I just tell you really fast that I don't know if I will ever be to a point where if I was out and was attacked that I would be able to just annihilate the fella, let's just say. But I don't want to ever try that
so
out
nice,
either.
Even when she's talking about being attacked.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think that I would ever really be able to take somebody out, but I'm not really trying to either. Mm-hmm. But I do think that now, like today, if leaving here or something, I don't know if I would be able to get away, but I definitely would be able to put up a fight.
Yeah.
At least maybe even enough that the person would be like, screw this.
Yeah.
And that was fine with me.
Yeah.
My fiance asks me that question a lot. Like she says, because she does the kind of cardio kickboxing. I like to call it dance fighting, just to mess with her. But I have total respect for it. It's great. I love that she does it. So, she asked me a lot, like, do you think, especially when I'm showing her like maybe like a video online of somebody being attacked, like just a sample video, like the Gracies do it a lot. I think Henry does it a lot with his wife, where like he's attacking and then she shows how she would defend. Like literally they're doing it in their bedroom and in the park and grabbing a child and what would you do? And so she's like, do you think that these were like legitimate, like a guy, like she's like, come on, a big guy goes and attacks her. And you really think she's gonna be able to defend herself? And I said, you don't understand. Okay, maybe she couldn't kick that guy's ass in a fight, but let me tell you something. She's going to last a little bit longer. She's going to know where to be, where to put her legs, put her hands. And also, she's gained, that woman has gained some time. Somebody with some knowledge has gained some time. Maybe she can just kick some guy's ass, depending on the level. But she's going to buy some time, know to scream, know how to handle herself, know what to grab, know what to kick, know what to, again, there's some great videos that Henry does with his wife where she shows how to do like a lapel choke by grabbing a t-shirt. Like if a guy's attacking you, grab his t-shirt up the back, like if he was on top of you attacking you. And I think it's a baseball choke. But yeah, I do think that a woman could not only defend or submit or just last longer to get that guy away. You said before about your daughter, like if she was walking, be conscious, because the one thing that guy fears of, look, most attackers aren't necessarily going to attack and kill. They're going to rape. They're going to
steal a purse or whatever.
Yeah, run. So that person knowing, like the surprise attack part is gone. So remembering the face, remembering how tall, they don't want that. So time is their enemy. So yeah, maybe you can buy more time, and maybe there are women. Listen, there are plenty of women out there that are either listening or that train that can kick a man's ass. A trained woman against an untrained man, I will put my money on the woman. Majority of times.
Yeah. That's another thing too. If the attacker doesn't know jujitsu,
doesn't know something,
doesn't know,
but
then that gives me a better chance too.
But here's what I think. It's a mindset thing, right? So we talk about the sport and how to handle the sport, right? But then you also got to put yourself in a mindset of, I'm going to be attacked. And I think I had this conversation with my daughter. I'm not sure what it was about, but I told her, hey, if somebody comes at you, I'm not sure what it was. I think she said, yeah, I'd push them off. I'm like, no, you got to think if somebody comes to attack you, you have to think the worst. So in thinking that the worst is going to happen to you, whatever that is, whether either they rape you or kill you, that you should put up a 100% fight. It doesn't matter if they didn't mean to touch you like that. They shouldn't have touched you from the beginning. So you defend yourself to the capacity where you can leave. You're not just going to half-ass it. Right, but it has to be a mindset. You have to be ready for that. Hey, somebody's going to grab you like this. So it's I think
you're going to have the adrenaline with it too. But then you don't want to get sloppy like said friend doing the 90%. At least like you said, you put yourself in bad situations when you train, so that when it does happen, you don't spaz and just move.
But that's a good example, right? Where you got somebody coming at you a little bit harder than they normally would, and you're able to defend them off, right? Why? Because you have the confidence that you can react to that. But somebody might not be able to react to different situations, whether it's somebody bigger, smaller, a knife, a gun.
So the odds are you're not going to be attacked by somebody who knows jiu-jitsu. First of all, they would have been weeded out of jiu-jitsu if they're like that kind of personality.
There's a lot of bad guys out there.
So it reminds me of the meme. I posted this the other day. I think it was like from Bro Jitsu or something it's called. It said like, jiu-jitsu works great until you try it against somebody who knows jiu-jitsu.
Oh, yeah.
But that's the thing is like, you don't know, that person doesn't know what he doesn't know, and he doesn't know what you know. Unless you're walking around with a big old shirt that says, I train jiu-jitsu. But, if he attacks you, you're going to surprise him with grabbing an arm, and maybe an arm gets caught and you lock it and you cause him some pain, and he says, I'm getting the fuck out of here.
Right.
And I think, Janet, what she said at the beginning of that statement was that she told her daughter not to be in her phone. To be aware of a situation.
When you're out.
That's the most important part. So it starts there, even fundamentally, like you said before. I think we talked about that. Use your voice as opposed to being physical, right? You can use your observational skills first and sharpen those as opposed to always being on your phone.
I tell her the same thing. Like if you go for a walk in the evening or even if you're out with your girlfriends or whatever, pay attention to what lights are on. Going around the block. What neighbor has their light on? I mean, I know it's silly, but it's sad that's how you have to
No, I don't
think
think
about.
it's no. I
You
don't
know-
think
Didn't
it's
tell her
silly
that
or-
you feel like if something happened,
Like it would be my fault that I didn't prepare
I feel
her for the
guilty.
world of
Yeah.
hopefully
Yeah.
nothing that's going to ever happen. But is this business open? Is this like a safe house that has, who do you think is going to answer the door that would help you, or that they would just go, nope, don't bring that drama
my
here. kind
my
of thing?
fiance has her daughter call when she walks home, because we're pretty close to the school, but it's still far enough that she's worried that something
Mm-hmm.
could happen. And there's a golf course that she can walk across, or she can go around. So we're like, take the long way. There's more traffic,
Mm-hmm.
but she usually calls her. She'll call her, and it's like a 15-minute walk, and she
They'll
just
talk.
stays on the phone.
Yeah.
She'll talk, or she'll be working. Okay, where are you? You okay?
I think it's a
okay,
good
you're
idea.
close.
Yeah, it's a good idea
So
to have that.
they'll do that. So I mean, I obviously can't do that in every situation, but that's one thing that they do to make her. It's more about making mom feel comfortable, because the little one is like, I don't want to. You know how 15-year-olds are. You know how 15-year-olds are.
I know.
So let's answer. We got one more question, and then we're gonna wrap it up. So we've got Chef Sopkin. I think that's the way it's supposed to be read, from Instagram. Is there a limit I should put on my son's training? He loves it and wants to go more and more. I don't want him to get burned out. He's 10 years old.
10 years old.
Thoughts?
I think, do you have experience with 10-year-olds? What do you think?
I say let him train.
Let them train.
Let him train.
10.
I think that it's hard, and I don't know if a kid is that in tune with his body to be like, hey, this hurts, and jiu-jitsu is a serious sport. We, for the people that out there that don't know, that don't train and might be listening, we fight, quote unquote, we fight or roll every time we train, for the most part. Even the kids, you're rolling, you're getting you banged up, you're rolling around. I know for me, the older in my early 40s, I was training 5-6 days a week, 2 hours a day at least, for the most part, when I started, and then I put a day between it. And now I'm 4 days a week. I try to do Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday.
How about we get a jiu-jitsu sports medicine guy on here? Talk about that stuff.
I'd
Talk
love to do
about-
that, and I'd actually like to
some
get a
good questions,
chiropractor
right?
on as well, because we've
That's
got
a good idea.
some training, like my back hurts questions, and
Yeah.
what should I do, and what exercise should I do. So yeah,
Because what I'm thinking
Yeah.
is 10 years old, they're flexible, they have extreme flexibility, and they might put themselves in a situation where they can hurt themselves.
I mean, Coach yells at Kai when he does like an inverted guard.
Yeah.
I mean,
why?
that's-
He goes
he's
too far back on his neck?
Yeah, he goes all the way back. He tells him, hey, listen, and
But
he
that's
talks
your
about
back and
longevity.
neck. That's
Yeah.
not so much a kid. That's
No,
just
but you
in
can-
general.
Yeah.
You can do that. You
human.
can do like
Yeah.
tight triangles or omoplatas or something that you can jack your knees up. You can.
Yeah, well, also depending on how much strength if you're trying to use, it can mess
Exactly.
with your muscles
So-
too. But I think it also depends on your kid themselves too. If you have a 10-year-old that wants to go and is loving it, why are you gonna?
Oh, why
Within
stop them?
reason,
Think about.
of course.
Let me throw this out there for a second. Most sports, there's a season.
We don't have a
She does
season.
we don't have a season. We're every day. That's the point. That's
You
the
have
long
gi
story
and no
short.
gi.
We don't have a season.
You have gi and no gi
So you're
season.
training like
Wow.
if
That's your season. We got seasons.
everyone here, if we had the time and we never got injured,
You train every
we
day.
had no jobs, we were independently wealthy, we would be training every day as long as our bodies let us.
Yeah.
And we'd be training every day, even sometimes when our body's telling us not to. I trained today, my back was hurting. I trained, I was okay. I was able to, feel good.
Hey, well,
It happens. But I'm saying a 10-year-old, you got it as the parent, you have to be conscious.
but
that, and it
I think
does-
we're thinking the same thing. 10 years old, he's in school. Unless it's the summertime, he needs to be getting good grades, or he's got to be doing extra stuff. Hey, if you're able to keep your grade point average up and do all your chores, maybe you can go, open mat on the weekend. And I think that's a good alternative.
Well, look, I mean, the
option
kids
to
now
it.
with the open mat and the family style that we have, they can come to open mat on Saturdays and Sundays. I
That's
mean,
what I'm
kids
saying,
in
but
our
I'm
school
sure-
could train 7 days a week now.
Yeah, I would hate to say that, use it as a punishment, but I would never do that. Never say you
Yeah.
can't go to jiu-jitsu
No,
because you,
coach says no.
But I would say, hey, if
Right.
you're able to do more, and 10 years old, I'm not sure,
I
There's
think
nothing
that
else that you can
his
really
question is,
supplement.
I don't want him to get burned out.
So,
should I
yeah.
should I be careful about how much he trains? In my opinion, it's just my opinion. I haven't coached kids since for at least 2 years, and that was for a short
the
amount of
coach would
time.
tell us,
I
right?
would say, look, let's keep an eye on him. If he says he's hurt or he's hurt his ankle, look, you could take time. You could take time off the mat at 10 years old. You could take a little time off the mat.
but kids' classes aren't 5 days a week, are they?
Yeah.
They are,
Some are.
but for the most part, the younger kids, they'll do 2 to 3 times a week. Sometimes 4 if they end up showing up Saturday morning for the family style. But for the most part, it's 2 to 3 times. The older kids, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, they can come as much as they want.
Okay.
I kind of think of this as a 2-part thing. If you're talking about just being burnt out, I mean, we all have our plateaus. We all have our days where we don't want to go, and then you want to go. You're fired up. You're not. That's just not only physical, but that's a mental state as well. If he's fired up now, then, let him go. If he's worried as far as physical, like you said, if you're worried, take him to the doctor. Even just your regular physician for, for him. Hey, as far as a 10-year-old's body, they'll know the weight, the height, what can he handle, what can he not. And then from there, if you need to go to a sports doctor, a chiropractor, whatever.
Well, with this too, I would say.
But that might help, though, to have the doctor talk to him and say, hey, here are your limitations as a 10-year-old. You're still growing. You still have at least, 8 more years for guys, right? If maybe a little bit less, but still,
I would think, though, I would say, I'm kind of rethinking what I said in that when I do see the kids roll, they don't let the kids roll like the adults roll. Where
That's true.
Where
Right,
we're trying to
they're not.
murder each other in some cases.
Mm-hmm.
The kids are definitely held back from hey, well, not so aggressive.
the only time that
so
they
they're
ever
not-
let them roll super hard is when they do super fights.
Yeah.
And they take turns and there's usually just 1, maybe 2 in a
At the end of
class.
the class, though.
And it's even a shorter time.
And it's even usually the older, it's typically probably not going to be 10-year-olds, right? They're going to be
No, they'll do
maybe
well.
teens.
I mean, like I said, they have the 2 different classes. They have the younger kids, they have the older kids. They'll have them roll their regular rolls, 2, 3, maybe 4, depending on time, and then sometimes they'll do a super fight. It's just one
fight.
like 2 people, 1 fight.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas, say, the 5-year-old roll is 3 minutes. For super fight, it's 2.
Okay.
For the older kids,
And they're going hard. And
Yes.
They can go hard, okay.
but I mean, you still have
Yeah.
Felipe, Sophia, me, and Flo's
Standing over
eyeballs
them.
are all
Okay.
right there.
All right.
But I think too. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
No, I was just
interrupt.
going to say for the older kids, their rolls are 4 minutes, super fights are 3 minutes.
Okay.
And again, we're right there watching. And all of their rolls, whether it be regular or the super fight, if we're watching and we see they have that submission, we
Stop
tap,
them.
tap, tap. You're done.
Yeah,
Start
see,
again.
we're not having
I
that, so
didn't
maybe
have it. It
there's a
wasn't
difference.
tight. And I'm tapping for you.
Yeah.
Because like you said, whereas we go a lot more, we're actually going for that submission, and I'm not going to let it go until you tap because that's what you're learning.
Yeah.
The kids, it's toned down
Okay.
a little
All
bit.
right. So there you go.
But I think
Just learned something.
because you definitely touched on it. Burned out is, and I'm just going to take this space of the conversation, is less to do with physicality and more to do with what you talked about, the mental state, right? And I think because I've known 2 kids in my life, well, they were adults when I knew them, but they were high competitive field and track, and one was a swimmer, high competitive swimmer. And by the time I met them, you couldn't put them in front of a track or a swimming pool because they got so burned out, right? Because it became more important to the parents than it became to them.
Okay.
I think when Jiu-Jitsu, and I'll just use Jiu-Jitsu because that was the question, but it could be any sport. You can put it in any sport. When Jiu-Jitsu becomes more important to you as the parent, or the kid is now falling almost kind of like serving scheduled tournament competitions because maybe he shows a talent for it, and now you're putting him tournament after tournament. I think when it becomes more important to anybody else than the kid, that's when the burnout possibility is there. As long as the kid is, to your point again, on fire for it, just let him do it. And then you know what? Again, to your point, Janet was just making a lot of good points that I was completely agreeing with her side. If the kid is burned out, let him be burned out. Let him leave it. Machado's son, right, who's a high-level black belt now, burned out when he was 14 and left it for years and didn't get back into it until he was like 16, 17, 18. And now he's a high-level black belt. But he left it for years because he got burned out. And Machado, of all people, just let him. Just go do what you want then. Wow. I think there's value in that too.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, guys. We're at about an hour and 20. We're gonna wrap it up. I'm gonna do a little housekeeping here. So again, thank you to everybody for listening.
That was a great show.
Yeah, thank
That
you
was a
very
great
much.
show.
I appreciate you getting a little personal there. Like I said, I've danced around it a little bit in the past because wasn't sure if you wanted to talk about it.
I like talking about me.
And I'll. Me too. So next time it's all heart attacks.
We'll just leave and let these.
So the questions that we answered today, everybody's going to get a $50 coupon code for.
Thank you guys for the
Podcast Swag.
questions.
Yeah,
Great
thank
questions.
you.
Nice. Great questions. Yeah.
You'll get that $50 coupon for chokeresponsibly.com. Again, as always, follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. You can submit questions whenever you want. If it's something you want to get answered now on social media, you can send it through. Let me know, hey, can I get an answer on this now? Because sometimes I just automatically assume that the question is for the show, so I wait. And sometimes I want to answer them right there, like, hey, this is my advice. This sounds important. Let me, let's talk. But as at Jiu-Jitsu Dummies on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, hit us up. YouTube, it's Jiu-Jitsu Dummies podcast, and like, comment, subscribe.
All those things help us out.
Yeah, tell Junior how much you love his mohawk. Whatever you want, you can do it in the
amazing.
comments. Yeah, it's amazing.
Pretty amazing.
I can't wait to roll with you again now that you have this. I'm excited.
Wait till it's
Can
long.
I rub it like good luck?
Wait till it's long.
So let's just real quick give your give your Instagram handle. Where can people
You can
find you?
catch me on Instagram at Raul Benton.
Junior.
At J Vega Jr.
Okay, Janet.
At Janet_JJ. Dummies.
Is it?
No, I don't know. It'll be on this somewhere.
It's
It'll
on
be
the
here.
screen.
It'll be
on
here.
It's right
there.
here.
Right there.
It's like
Can you
this
make-
long.
Bo,
Can you make
sure
sure
you leave it there this
it's right
whole time
there?
that we're going like this. I am at Uncle Milty. Now, you messed me up, Janet. At Uncle Milty BJJ is my personal, and again, I'm answering most of the stuff on social media. So if you hit me up at Jiu-Jitsu Dummies, I'm going to answer you there as well. Big shout out to Choke Responsibly, 10% off with coupon code DummiesPod5. They got
Hell
some great
yeah.
shirts, right?
10%, you said, right?
10%.
10%. Just want to be sure.
10%.
That's
Not
right.
not 15.
Don't go look for 15, folks.
If you
Not
want
yet.
15, Junior will give you the refund. He'll send it to you.
We'll work on that.
10% off with coupon code DummiesPod5. Fight Back CBD, you can get 15% off there. He's a big. Oh yeah, I'm sorry, Pod 5. Well, you'll still get it, but it's Dummies Pod 6. Thank you, Janet. Fight Back CBD, coupon code JJD, you get 15% off. Thank you to our show patrons again, CJ Carroll, Chuck Reddoor, James again, who introduced us, James Fisher, who introduced us to Fight Back CBD. Thank you. We love you guys. Check out Mission 22 and mission22.com. They do some great things for veterans. And if you want to get a shout out like that on the show, beginning and end, go to our website, jujitsudummies.com. Go click on the patrons/sponsor section. And for as little as $5 a month, we'll shout you out, either you, your gym. There's some other packages where you can get a T-shirt every month. We'll send you a coupon code for a T-shirt once a month. So every time Choke Responsibly puts something out, you can get one of those, not just a podcast shirt. We've got the new bags, stickers, new swag on chokeresponsibly.com. Just look for the podcast tab in the menu. But other than that, thank you guys. We love you. Keep listening. We'll see you next time. Os.
Os.